Well, I can't think of a better and more exciting guest to help me christen the Mark Romig Show than you, sir.
Congratulations, Mark.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Emeril Lagasse. So welcome, and thank you. You're
This
most
is
welcome.
exciting.
You know, we're going to have a conversation. I want to keep it really into some subjects that people are going to want to understand, really what makes you tick and how you would like to approach life. And so really what I want to start with is, if you were not a chef, if you were not going to be a chef, what would you be doing?
I'd be a musician.
Ah.
So played a lot of music in a lot of different types of bands growing up. And high school, I went to a vocational school which had culinary arts. And the only reason why I got in that school, because it's very difficult to get in, was because they needed somebody to lead the band. So I played music during high school, led the band, and turned down a full scholarship to the New England Conservatory of Music to pay to go to cooking school, which my mom wasn't very happy about.
I was about to ask you, what were your parents thinking at this moment?
My mom wasn't very happy. My dad totally understood. He said, if that's the direction you want to go, then go for it.
Wow.
So that's what I did. I didn't go to music school. I did a few summer programs at the New England Conservatory when I was in high school, but ended up going to Johnson & Wales and paying to go to cooking school.
And they say the rest is history. So your chosen instrument?
Percussion. Back then, I composed music. I played strings. I played any wind instrument, trumpet, trombone, tuba, that sort of thing, baritone. The only thing I couldn't really play was the piano, which I regret. EJ, however, he's like a natural with piano.
Really?
Yeah, so is my daughters.
Well,
yeah.
EJ and Meryl, or maybe they'll start a band at some point with you.
See what happens.
I can do a trio.
Yeah.
What about Alden? Does she?
She plays the piano a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see the makings of a quartet. This is fantastic. You've just reimagined Emeril's as well with EJ. Can you talk about that whole transformation and how that came about?
Yeah. So, EJ is still fairly young, but he's really an old salty dog in heart. So he had a lot of great training. So when he told me and his mom that he wanted to be a chef, and I'll never forget when that night was. We were having a dinner at Cafe Boulou, and Gavin Kaysen was the chef de cuisine for Daniel Boulou. And he made this duck dish. We did a tasting menu, and EJ was right there doing the tasting menu and smelling the wines. And after that dinner, he said, I decided what I'm going to do and what I'm going to be. And he said, I'm going to be a chef. So he said, okay. I said, you got a lot of other skills, but if that's what you want to do, the rule is you're going to have to leave the house. You're going to have to go and train elsewhere, not just with me. Because he grew up, as a little boy in the restaurant every day, pretty much of his life. When we opened Coastal, he was in high school in Destin. He pretty much worked every day after school. So he was, Mark, I want to say he was 15, 16. He was born in New York City. So he was 15, 16. He worked the summers for Eric Repair at Le Bernardin. So Alden and I got him an apartment across the street from Le Bernardin, and that's what he did. He lived in New York City pretty much by himself.
That's amazing.
Worked at Le Bernardin every day but Sunday. So he worked Monday through Saturday at Le Bernardin. Eric has become sort of like a second dad to him. They speak at least once a week. He worked a little bit at Danielle, worked a little bit at Cafe Boulou, but then he said to me, hey, Dad, I want to go to culinary school now. I want to go where you went. I want to go to Providence and go to Johnson & Wales. So he did that, fast-tracked that program as well. He did it 24 months in like 18 months. And then he said, I'm going to move to Europe. And I said, I'm going to move to London. Totally on his own. He found his own place and got a job. pretty much with the recommendation from Eric Repair at Core, working for Claire Smith, a 3 Michelin star as well. So he worked at Core for almost a year for Claire. She was a big impact on him and really liked him. She offered him a job, a sous chef job, but he didn't feel like he was ready. So they referred him to Sweden, and he went to work at Franzen, which is probably considered one of the top 3 restaurants in the world. So he worked for Bjorn and really became a good disciple for Bjorn and at Franzen. And then he moved back to London, and then that's when I said, okay, Eej, it's time to come home. Now I want to do what I've been wanting to do for 20 years, and that is we're going to change the complete format of Emeril's, and that was 3 years ago. We closed the restaurant, and for almost a year, we totally renovated the restaurant right down to the core. Built a state-of-the-art kitchen. We went from 35 tables to 11 tables now, 11 tables and tasting menu only. And then we have the wine bar, which is the bar, no more private rooms, so that L shape is now called the wine bar. The wine room we now call the library, which you can rent and have and do the tasting menu in that, but pretty much it's the wine bar. And the wine bar, it's amazing what's happened, because since we've been reviewed by Michelin, we were reviewed by Michelin and received 2 stars, as you know.
Yes.
But we were reviewed as one restaurant. So now that we've been reviewed, now that when they re-review the restaurant, which is happening as we speak, the wine bar will be reviewed separately than the dining room. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because I think the wine bar has become so popular with the locals.
I hear a lot of people saying that they're making their choice. They're going to do the tasting menu. The next time we're coming back to do the wine bar.
Yeah. Yep.
Go back and forth.
Well, and I have to, you were the first person that I called almost 4 years ago to say, hey, Mark, I need some guidance. Why isn't Michelin here in Louisiana? Why aren't they here in New Orleans? We're one of the oldest cuisines in America, and we have no Michelin stars. You got Atlanta, you got Chicago, no New Orleans. So you were the one that gave me some good advice. And
well, we put you with Walt Leger, and I think, as they say, the rest is history. And congratulations again. That was such great news for not only you and EJ, but all of this part of the world for finally getting the recognition that we needed.
Yeah, I think we had 2 1-star. And I think we had 12 or 18 mentions.
Yes.
That's just pretty amazing for first time out the chute.
Speaking of great food in New Orleans, I know you're a big fan of Don Melisi's.
Big time.
Big time, right?
They're my favorite.
What else excites you about New Orleans food and restaurants?
Well, I like exploring who's making good gumbo. Mm-hmm. I like being invited, which doesn't happen very often, but I like being invited into mom or grandma's home for some good, just New Orleans cooking. I like the country part of Louisiana, New Iberia, St. Martinville, etc. Our friend Marcel Benvenu, is based there, and so I've experienced a lot of country food with her. And then there's the city food of New Orleans. There are a lot of influences from, French, Spanish. It's really interesting, Mark, as you know, to see what's happened and how the city's evolved right now with the style of restaurants and all these young chefs that are opening. It's amazing. I mean, the amount of cultural differences that you can eat in New Orleans right now is exceptional.
Oh, it's amazing. The international cuisine. Yeah. It's when you think about Serene and what he's done at Dakar.
I've been going to Don Melisi's. I used to go into the house. God, when she was alive,
wow!
I would go get a poor boy, and she'd say, "Why don't you come in the living room?" And I'd go in the house.
That's special. That's a treat.
Eat my poor boy and drink my Boggs root beer.
That's a treat. That's a treat. Let's talk a little bit about the foundation. You created this foundation more than 20 years ago, and raised millions of dollars. I know that's a special place in the heart of you and Alden. And what you've been able to do? What moves you in that direction?
Well, I happen to be influenced. I was on the board of Andre Agassi's foundation for maybe 12 years, and Andre's the one that really got me inspired, and seeing him build what he built, a single school in Las Vegas, and being a part of that inspired me to do something for New Orleans that wasn't done. And there's unfortunately a lot of poverty and a lot of not the best circumstances in a lot of areas. And so I wanted to make an impact to mentor children from a culinary standpoint. And the first thing that we did is as you know, we opened the first school, an edible schoolyard. And what it did was not only did it make me see these children that really didn't know what a zucchini was or what an eggplant was, and then seeing them really sort of get their hands dirty in the soil and learn about that, and then take it back to the classroom and have a kitchen format where they can learn. But then what I realized with this particular school was that the children were one thing, but the parents were another thing, because they didn't know either what that was, what a zucchini or what an eggplant was. So we started involving a parent or a grandparent on Saturdays to come to the schoolyard, to come to the garden, to pick an ingredient that they wanted to do and to take it home and to cook it with their family. And that sort of really inspired me to do more of these edible kitchen schoolyards.
And now you're in several states.
I want to say that we have 11 of them going on right now. We have 4 on the drawing board.
You've got kids influencing parents on better eating habits as well. And
yes. It just makes
full
the
circle.
family table all better, and the education that these kids are getting, it's incredible.
Yeah.
And then there are special projects, Mark, as you know, that we've done, beside Cafe Reconcile and St. Michael's, of course. We built a full culinary program at NOLA, which never had it's an arts program, and they never had culinary arts. We started with one classroom, and now we've built an entire school. And it's really great to see these young people, how they're motivated and how they're motivated with food.
Well, it's the influence that you're having on the dining habits, I think, of kids. It's really made a big difference, I think. And that's a great story that will be told for generations to come. So, home base, New Orleans. You chose New Orleans. You got to know someone very closely up on Washington Avenue by the name of Ella Brennan. It's our 100th birthday this year.
Yes, it is, our 100th birthday. I had the pleasure of taking over Commander's Palace in 1982. There was an interim chef by the name of Gerhard Brill, but Paul was really sort of still the influence, but he was kind of in and out because he had already opened about a year and a half before then. He opened K. Paul's.
That was Paul Prudhomme, yes.
Yeah. And so I came in, and I knew that I had some big shoes to fill. Paul had an exceptional reputation, but having the pleasure of working with Ella and Dick Brennan was incredible. It changed my life. They really didn't know much about cooking. They knew a lot about food, but they didn't know much about the technique of cooking. And it was really a great exchange because I brought that to Commanders, and I went to a total from scratch program, and everything that I changed. And I think in my tenure there, which was just about a little under 8 years, I think we almost doubled, more than doubled business, and she became a mentor like no other. And so was Dick, but Dick in a different way. Dick was more detail operational, not that Ella wasn't, but Ella was all about hospitality.
Yeah, front of the house.
Yeah, about hospitality, about people, and like I said, we were a great team together, and we did a lot of great things together.
Yeah, and you see T continuing that legacy.
It's nice to see T doing that and Lally.
T and Lally together.
You know,
Great
and
combo.
I was recently at Mr. B's, which I hadn't been in a long time, and seeing Cindy operate in her world, and of course there's Ralph, and then there's Dickie, and it's an amazing
They
family.
all grew up with you.
Yeah,
in
it's an
many
amazing
ways.
family.
Yeah, it really is. I want to take you through some what we call a little speed round here, just some fun
Okay.
aspects. Pineapples on pizza?
No.
Not at all.
No.
I've seen that a lot though.
Yeah,
not with
I
your
have
pizza.
seen it a lot, but it doesn't sound good to me.
What about tomatoes and gumbo?
No. And there'll be an argument with that. There'll be a big argument with that. There will be an argument that the city food, which considered New Orleans or Creole, would use tomato, but the country gumbo would not use tomato.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. Do you do the potato salad with gumbo?
We have. We've done it over the past several years. It's one of those things that New Orleanians prefer rice, but there are some that insist on potato salad with their gumbo.
Yeah, it's not a bad taste. Really good. Favorite po' boy?
Dom Alisi's, there's a special name for it, but it's a shrimp po' boy with debris on top. And they do that. They do that for me there, and it's pretty amazing because you're getting both best worlds.
So it's not on the menu, but if we mention,
you ask,
I want Emeril special.
Oh yeah, they'll do it for you. You should try it next time.
You've cooked for a lot of great people, a lot of fun people, celebrity types. What's one of the biggest memories you have of cooking for like an icon or a celebrity?
Well, I'm fortunate because I have, over the years have fed a lot of great rock and roll people, musicians, you name it, from Billy Joel to Bruce Springsteen, you name it. Couple of highlights. We had President Clinton come to Emeril's. Still hasn't paid the bill. I don't know what happened there, but that was a pretty serious moment where they had to turn the wine room into sort of like Spy Central, basically. And, just a way to see Secret Service coming in, and the dogs coming in and checking everything. That was a pretty serious moment. Having First Lady Reagan.
When she came in for the World's Fair?
Yeah, she came in when I was at Commander's Palace, and I'll never forget her coming through the kitchen door with Secret Service, and then I greeted her, and she had wonderful time. Met a lot of special people with Ella too.
I bet.
But yeah, Kevin Costner, another great guy. Anyhow, when he was here doing JFK, he was in the restaurant a lot. So
that's some great names there. What's one thing you never get tired of cooking?
I don't get tired of cooking anything really. I just
favorite
I
thing
just
you
love
like?
it. It depends. If I'm home, it's a good roast chicken. It could be bolognese. It could be smothered Portuguese chicken. Home cooking is much different than the restaurant cooking.
Yeah. We deeply appreciate you being with us. I know I have a couple of questions coming out from our production crew. Cal, Jordan, y'all have anything that you'd like to ask the chef?
Well, I actually have one from one of our writers at Love NOLA, Katie. When she heard we had Emeril coming in, she had a burning question, which was, and I quote, if he thinks bay leaves are BS, because she's never made a dish that called for them, skipped them, and later thought, damn, wish I'd used those bay leaves.
Bay leaves as the liqueur?
Bay leaves.
Bay leaves.
Bay leaves.
Well,
Bay leaves.
For what it's worth, you can tell that I have a laurel tree in my yard. That's how much I believe in bay leaf.
Makes sense.
Yeah, we pick them, we dry them. I don't think I bought bay leaf in 15 years. I mean, I actually have 2 trees actually in my yard right now, and crazy enough, I have a garden that's out of control right now. I had a great crop of tomatoes this spring, early summer, and they never died. And they're producing tomatoes again in November, December.
That's
They're
unusual,
producing,
huh?
yeah. And I've got lettuces and all kinds of things growing. I don't know what it is. It must be wherever.
But there'll be no tomatoes in the gumbo.
No tomatoes in the gumbo. But I'm seriously, we're probably producing probably 4 quarts of little tomatoes and at least a dozen big tomatoes weekly.
Larry, you got one?
Hey, you talked about music earlier. What were some of your favorite bands growing up?
Well, you know, my music was very versatile because I played orchestra music for an orchestra. I played in a Portuguese band, which was like sort of a street band, like a festival band. I played in a rock and roll band. You know, I don't share this much because I'm pretty private about that stuff, but I happened to play percussion, play drums for the backup band for Aerosmith when they first started.
Oh, wow.
A band called New England. I played percussion for
Got
that.
the exclusive right here.
That's right. Only on the Mark Romig Show.
Well, Larry actually played for the St. Augustine Marching 100. Yeah.
I love it. What'd you play?
Flute. Yeah, I was much shorter back then.
Yeah. That's not an easy instrument to
No, it wasn't.
learn.
Yeah,
I mean, I played it a little bit, but that's a difficult instrument.
yeah, it is. Yeah.
Glenn, you got one?
As a New Orleanian, born and raised, it's a question I always ask for someone who's moved here. What was your first week like in New Orleans? And when did you know that New Orleans was unique, special, different, as we all know that it is?
It's quite a long story, but I'll share it with you. So, coming in, I was a very young chef coming into Commander's Palace. I learned right away that I had to respect, not that I was not going to respect, but that I had to respect tradition. That there was a lot of tradition, particularly at Commander's. So in the beginning days at Commander's, Chef Emeril had no window. So it was, you do Commander's food, and that's what we do here, and we're not doing anything off the side. And after a couple of months, when I got Ella and Dick's trust that, wow, okay, this guy can cook, they did give me a window. So then it was like, okay, what am I going to do with that window? And I'll never forget one of the first dishes that I created for that window was I told Ella, I said, I'm going to do a rack of lamb. And she said, it'll never sell. I said, well, Miss Ella, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to do it with Creole mustard crust, and we're going to do it. I hate mint jelly. I think it should be banned. Mint sauce, yes, okay, but mint jelly. So I never carried mint jelly. Anyhow, that window progressively kept growing. So always respecting tradition. So then I tapped into the farm resource. I started a farm cooperative, and was my philosophy of everything from scratch. And then I loved redfish, but then, as you know, we had a problem with redfish, we still do, and trout that got banned because of being overfished, which now it's not. They should change that law, but anyhow. But I mean, people wanted to eat more than just trout and redfish. So I began working relationship with some fishermen, and on my day off, I would go offshore or spend even an overnight trip fishing. And I found the first fish that I found, which was called escalor. And I always wondered why, when I ordered it, they would come to the restaurant with no head on. And I realized that it's because they have big teeth, and they're very mean, and the Vietnamese people, they hated that, so they just shoot the head off. And that's why they didn't have a head. But then I started finding all this wonderful fish and seafood in the Gulf, and started incorporating that into the menu, into that window. You know, things like snapper and grouper and other great fish. Even, you know, I would even run sheep's head, which was considered a no-no, but people loved it. And anyhow, so that was the first love. Obviously, this being such a exciting, great food town. The music excited me, the architect excited me, the people and their hospitality excited me. So that's why I decided to stay. And I was going to open my first shingle. I was going to do it with Ella. Ella and I were going to be partners. But she wanted to be in the French Quarter, and I wanted to pioneer the warehouse district. So I went my own way, and I lived across the street from Emeril's. And so I saw that whole project evolve, and here we are 35 years later. We're celebrating Emeril's.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so very much
Thanks, Mark,
for
and
being with us.
congratulations on the Mark Romig Show.
Thank you, sir.
And we'll do this again.
We hope so. Thank you.
Thanks.